Well, it is 7 o'clock, so we don't want to be late.
After we were early.
Now that we've all been early, exactly.
Yeah.
It's always the risk.
So I would like to call this meeting to order, and I would like to start with acknowledging that today is September 11th. It is an auspicious day in our history, and particularly in New York State. It is, I remember exactly where I was. I remember that day incredibly well, and we are a different country as a result. People came out and supported each other in a way that we hadn't necessarily been doing before that, and we came together as a country in an amazing way. And 22 years later, we're not that way, and I see an opportunity for us to find our way back, which is one of the reasons why I appreciate having interns in our midst. It made me realize that our high school intern was not born when September 11th, 2001 happened. So all the more reason for us to remember the day, remember the almost 3,000 people who died, remember also the firefighters and the police officers who lost their lives trying to save others. And so I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the day, and as the saying goes, may we never forget. And with that, it seems appropriate to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And we will start with approval of the minutes for August 24th. I do have an edit, but it also leads me to have just a brief conversation. In the minutes, it says November 10th, moving to November 11th, which is, I believe that was our discussion about Veterans Day.
Columbus Day.
Well, November 10th, November 11th is a Saturday, so the actual holiday is the 10th
Right.
of November, which is what you wrote down, but it
No,
should
but
be.
We were moving
Yes.
the Columbus Day meeting.
And I do know that Panda has an issue with the Tuesday, because you have two other standing meetings and someone's on vacation, I think. I just wanted to ask briefly how you all felt as to whether or not we can record on Zoom. Can you guys use a Zoom recording? So I think that may be our best bet, because that keeps us in timing. So we'll leave it as we had done it at our last meeting, where we moved our October 9th meeting to October 10th. So if you would just make that adjustment. With that correction, may I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Thank you, Steve. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Kim. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And now on to fun part of the meeting. We have two candidates for library board. And as is the charter of the Red Hook Public Library, it is the responsibility of the village board to approve a recommendation from the library board for library board service. Wrong thing. And so perhaps we can start with Marta DePepa. Perhaps you can come up to the podium, because then they can capture you on the,
Yes, please. Just switch it
there should
on.
be a button somewhere.
Yep, just
That was your-
it'll-
That was your
I got
first
it?
test.
Yeah, yeah?
Yes,
Okay.
if you keep talking and hold it close, it'll.
Okay.
There you
Oh,
go.
no, now I can.
So thank you. We have your information that you sent. Thank you very much. And I would just like to give the board an opportunity. Well, maybe you can do a brief synopsis of why you'd like to be on the library board.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Marta Tepepa. I am originally from Mexico, I am a citizen of this country, and I would like to be part of the library board because I believe that with knowledge comes power. And one thing that lacks basically my community, the people that look like me, is access to that knowledge for free, not only for free, but also open in a safe space. I believe the library in this community is a safe space and it's full of knowledge. How do we attract more people that are like me and other immigrants, right, to these communities? I would like to be in the board because I want to learn how the United States has created these institutions that are free and open to everyone, but also to give you another probably idea or another point of view from the global south, from a woman of color, of how we can also approach those that not necessarily feel okay using US institutions. So that's the backbone. But my real, not my real, but more close to the theme of the library, I want to learn how to create this synergy of forces so that we can become a better library, that it's open, big, strong, and also attracts more youth, more people, more especially the youth. We went through tumultuous times recently where the library board was not communicating with the community. I want to be part of that. I want to not only criticize, but also be a useful part for you, for the library, to communicate with communities that are usually not out there. They're hiding or they're not part of the mainstream. So that's why I want to be part of the board. And I also want to be part of a community. I think community also brings power and compassion, what you just mentioned, right? Bringing everybody together. I think if we all go in the same boat and we steer together, it makes more force, right? So
Great.
That's it.
And can you do a very brief synopsis of what you do, what your background is?
Okay, so I was born and raised in Mexico City. I am the daughter of an indigenous person that loved to read. So all my life I've been reading books, and he also liked kind of very political magazines. So I know a lot of politicians. I've been reading a lot of politicians in Mexico. I studied economics in Mexico City in a public university, Universidad Autónoma Metropolitana. Then I came to the United States as an intern. That was the first time I came. 1998, I was an intern at the United Nations, in the United Nations Conference for Trade and Development in New York. I did my internship there. I went back to Mexico. But while I was doing my internship, I applied for graduate school at Columbia University in New York, and I got in. So I had to come back and do my master's. So my master's is in cultural anthropology, and my research had to do with Pan-Mayanism, which is a kind of source for rescuing the history of the ancient Maya that was actually erased with military coups and very aggressive policies to eliminate the Maya culture throughout Central America. I was based in Guatemala, and that's where I did my research, my field work, and my dissertation. I came back to the United States to work on and off with universities as an anthropologist translator. So I would go with them into various sites in South America, especially with the University of Kansas at UMKC, University of Missouri at Kansas City. So I was their translator. I had, since my background is as an anthropologist, I had the credentials to translate. I then applied for a PhD in El Colegio de Mexico, which is a public institution of graduate studies in Mexico City. And the reason I went back is because I was aware of the inequality that poverty creates in urban settlements throughout Latin America. The place where I was born and I grew up, throughout the economic crisis that are continuous in Latin America, went from a middle-class neighborhood to el barrio. Many of women, my contemporaries, that live where I grew up are now either dead, were teenage mothers, or had a different path path from mine and probably are working in, low places that you don't want to know. So I became very aware of my privilege as a Mexican woman because despite the fact that my dad was an indigenous person, I had access to knowledge. Speaking English is what opened places for me. I was never the brightest student. I managed to get through because I spoke English and I was able to translate my textbooks. So I studied poverty in El Colegio México, and my research has to do with the way social policy, tools like a policy to and open more public libraries have an impact in the well-being of people that goes beyond money. So if you get out of the scarcity mind thinking of, oh, it's out of budget, oh, we cannot spend that. If you get out of that and you can see what difference it makes just to invest and up the budget for a library, you see I've noticed, I've witnessed the change in the lives of not just women, children, men, whole communities. It opens their eyes to what is there. So that's what I do as a research. I'm now teaching an anthropology course in Western Connecticut State University. I also teach a course in urban poverty. I've been at Western Connecticut since a year ago, and I love it. I think it's public state universities are the best. Before that, I was at Bard College at the Levy Economics Institute. I was not only recruiting students for our master program, I also taught a course in gender, public policy, and poverty, which is basically my research. And before that, I was at the UN, until 9/11, when the budget for what we were doing, that was investing in development, got crushed by the US because they decided to fund a war in Afghanistan instead of investing in the UN. So that's my background. I'm also a mother of a high schooler, fresh woman in Marina. I've been living in this area since 2012. We moved here because of Bard College. My husband and I got a job there, and we just moved here. So my daughter has been using the library all her life since we moved here. So we are regulars. And yeah, that's it.
Great.
And I live in the town. I live in Manor Road.
Any board members have any questions?
That was super impressive. I have a question. So the library recently changed their policy on hotspots to make it so that you could only take them out 3 times every 90 days. Do you have a feeling on that? Do you have any?
I would like to read first.
Sometimes, if it's on, you need to just
Yes,
keep talking.
I got it,
it'll
right?
start.
It
Yep,
used to be
there
that you could take them out, for long periods. It was to, supplement people that don't have internet access in the community. And they've recently changed it to only being able to take out 3 times in 90 days. And I was just wondering if you had a feeling on that.
Well, that's, again, talking about scarcity mindset, I think that access to any service should be open, and as long as people need it. If you put a target of how long it can be used, that creates actually kind of obstacles to accessing that service. I would like to read why they changed it. I'm just new, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to be new. But it would be, there are studies that show that when you do not provide basic services to access education, nowadays with technology, you need access to the internet.
Yeah.
It's become like a phone, right? Before phone. So I think that there are studies that show this, that how not having access to these things can put more obstacles and hurdles for families that don't necessarily have the means to pay for regular service. So if you can provide that, that actually ups not only the rates of graduation from schools, but also the well-being of people that, probably get better grades and can actually access a grant or a fellowship or a scholarship. So I would look into that, and I think I'm not a scarcity kind of person. I know budgets are there for a reason, but when you start from the beginning, getting, concerned about how much it's going to cost.
Great answer.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to accept the nomination of Marta de Pepa to the Red Hook Public Library as a trustee. Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Marta is filling the last bit of, I believe it's Joshua
Barfield?
Barfield.
Barfield, thank you, term. And so we're just trying to put together the term scenario, so I'll just be back in touch to figure out exactly what that officially means in terms of when your term is totally up. So thank you very much for coming, and we look forward to working with you on the library board. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And we have a second library trustee candidate. We have Lee Banatka, correct? All right. Yeah. And so if you would say hello, and if it's on, you just need to keep talking, it'll pick up. I think if it's pushed up and you keep talking, it's one of those that will trigger once you're talking.
Hopefully you can still hear me. Anyway, if
No, it shouldn't. You shouldn't have to do that. I think Lori's going to save you here.
Testing.
Very good.
There you go.
Just keep talking.
just keep talking. All right. Well, I'm not going to be as nearly as interesting as Marta, but I went to library school and I was interested in, helping the community. I worked for Ford Motor Company and General Motors Media Archives, and I worked at Brooklyn Public Library down in the city for a few years. And then I came back up here and started a business with my father doing shredding and storage and property management. And I always boost the library because of my background, but not nearly as cool as Marta's. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm not the best public speaker, I suppose.
You're doing an excellent job.
Thank you.
We appreciate you being here. And full disclosure, I believe one of your shredding clients is the Village of Red Hook.
It is.
So we are,
And the court, too. Yes.
yes, so we are
And the police station.
grateful for your services. And so maybe a little bit more about why you'd like to be on the library board.
I feel like now my mind just went blank, but I really think that it's a great asset to the community, definitely with the scarcity thing, helping everybody. I try to promote, go get library books. You don't need to buy all of your books. You can keep getting more and support the library. There's tons of programs that are needed and need to be accessed for people, everybody to use, and I got my parents back into using the library for DVDs and books and everything, and my sister even now. So, and all my friends, I'm always like, you got to get it from the library. So that's just what I try to, I know there's tons of good programs, and I'm not even touching the surface of what is great about the library, but I love libraries, so I too like to read, and that's what got me into library school. So that's the number one thing they always say about when you go to library school is it's because you love to read, and then it really ends up not being anything to do with being a librarian, but so.
But you're supporting people who like to read.
I absolutely do, yeah. I'm like, if you're reading a cereal box or a comic book or, even this little note right here, I'm like, yeah, it's all good, as long as you're reading something, even if you're listening to it on tape,
Exactly.
or
Great.
audio books, not tapes anymore, so.
It's all right. Most of us understand what you're talking about. Any board members have any questions?
I want to ask you the same question
Okay.
about what you think about the change in the policy, about hotspots. And obviously, you'll read more, you'll know more once you're on the board. No
Right.
pressure. Just sort of what your
I
first impressions are.
I too think that I get from the budget standpoint, and there's only a limited amount, but I also do think that, yes, you need more access for everybody in the community. If they're having trouble getting internet access out, like my mom she has to use frontier and it's awful, and and I have Spectrum, it's great, but I live in a neighborhood where people live a lot further out and there's not as much access, so I think it should be available to everybody as frequently as they need it.
Great
So,
answer.
Okay,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Anybody else? So I would like to make a motion to accept Lee Bonatka as a Red Hook Public Library trustee. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Steve. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Thank you and
right.
congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And I guess the one comment I would make, we didn't ask you what kind of other board experience you've had. Being on a board is a particular experience, and I know that the Mid-Hudson Library System has training programs, et cetera. I would encourage you to make good use of those because it helps you be a better board member.
Sure, yeah.
And they do provide those programs, and it's great to take advantage of those.
Yeah,
There's even a
definitely.
book that's how to be a good board member or how not to be a bad board member, I think. So, but thank you both for coming.
thank you.
We certainly look forward to working with you as the village and the library, and I know that the two of you are going to be a great team. And so Lee is filling Sally Dwyer McNulty's term because she resigned at the end of July, and so your normal term is 5 years, and so I just need to figure out what the timing was, and just to keep track on that. But wonderful. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yes. Right. Okay, the next order of business is related to LoSAP. So we have gone through this a couple times. We passed a resolution to put a proposition on the ballot, and we have all learned in the process that it needs to be a special election that is run by the village. It cannot be in conjunction with the regular election run by the Dutchess County Board of Elections in November. And so as we discussed in at our workshop meeting in August, in consultation with the Village of Tivoli, which is doing a separate proposition, but we thought it would be best to minimize the confusion to have us pick the same day for our special election. And I did confer with Mayor Griffin this morning, or this afternoon, that they have stayed focused on October 24th, which is a Tuesday. It is before early voting for the November election, so people will be thinking about voting, but they won't have a confusion as to having two different things to vote for at the same time. It will still be confusing, and so any help in explaining that this is specifically to say yes or no to increasing, let me find the right spot, the service award contributions to an active volunteer firefighter from $500 service award contribution for each calendar year during which the volunteer firefighter earns 50 or more points under the service award program point system, which is what we currently have, and increasing that contribution to $1,200 per service year. And so we have a resolution, which is resolution number 47. That there shall be a public referendum of eligible voters of the Village of Red Hook in a special election to be held October 24th to determine whether the Red Hook Fire Department Service Award Program shall be amended effective January 1, 2024, to increase the annual service award contribution from $500 to $1,200 for each calendar year beginning after December 31st, 2023, during which an active volunteer firefighter earns a year of service credit under the point system. And then there's some information about the potential cost. We benefit enormously from having a volunteer firefighter service. It is an issue around, certainly around the state, I imagine around the country, to attract volunteer firefighters. So this is a way to say thank you to those who put in the time to be active volunteer firefighters. Our cost for the $500 is currently paid 75% by the town, because about 75% of the calls are in the town. And the town supervisor has indicated that he feels so strongly about this increase that the town will be paying for the 100% of the difference, from the 500 to 1,200. So I would like to I would take a motion to accept this resolution to direct that we hold this public referendum on October 24th. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Steve. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Charlie. Any questions, further discussion? I will apologize for the confusion in the going forward and pulling back and going forward again, but we learned the process, so that's good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Right, but we're not going to do that today. Okay. Got it. Yes, we have more procedural things to do for the special election. We will appoint our election inspectors, et cetera. We normally hold it here in Village Hall from 12 to 9 p.m. So you can start putting the word out. Okay, the next item we have is related to our sewer use fees. So this resolution is regarding an adjustment of sewer capital and operation and maintenance fees for Knollwood Commons. And I'll just read the resolution because I think it encapsulates what we're talking about here. Whereas the final revised apportionment for the municipal sewer system, Phase 1, resolution approved by the Village Board on May 17, 2021, includes an assessment of full capital and operation and maintenance fees for Knollwood Commons. And whereas the sewer construction project, as approved by the Dutchess County Department of Health, called for the use of existing septic tanks and pump systems at Knollwood Commons, and whereas the village is responsible for the upkeep and maintenance of the force main system into which the Knollwood Commons septic system connected, and the upkeep and maintenance of the wastewater treatment plant, but not the operation, maintenance, and repairs of the existing Knollwood Commons system. And whereas the full capital and O&M fees, operation and maintenance fees, include the cost of operation, maintenance, and repairs of the full system, now therefore be it resolved that the capital and O&M fees for Knollwood Commons reflect the cost of their system as constructed as follows. Capital cost, total anticipated construction cost is $7.24 million. The portion related to the force main system and the wastewater treatment plant totals $5.0 million, or 69%. O&M cost, estimate in 2021 for total annual O&M costs is $91,500. The portion related to the force main system and the wastewater treatment plant totals $69,600, or 76%. And be it further resolved that Knollwood Commons will be charged going forward the following fees per EDU. Capital cost, 69% of charge per EDU, which is currently, full charge is $716 per year. So 69% of that is $494.04 per year, or $123.51 per quarter. For the O&M cost, 76% of the charge per EDU. Currently, the full cost is $311 per year. 76% of that is $236.36 per year, or $59.09 per quarter. And be it further resolved that these charges can be reviewed and should changes be warranted in the future. I would take a motion to accept this resolution.
So moved.
And this is Resolution 48. Thank you, Kim. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mel Korka. Any questions, clarification?
So this is an adjustment to what they were originally being charged?
Yes, the original apportionment had them paying full cost.
Okay.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. We will be doing more apportionment work on the fees in the future, but this one was pretty straightforward. They didn't get the whole system, so they shouldn't be paying for the whole thing. Okay, the next. This is a resolution, which is Resolution 49, which is related to the Community Block Development Grant funds. This resolution establishes a date for a public hearing to solicit ideas for Community Block Development Grant funds. And I'll just read this one, and we can discuss the details. Whereas Dutchess County administers a federal funding program called Community Block Development Grants, whose intent is to develop viable, more resilient communities. Activities may address needs such as infrastructure, economic development, public facilities, housing rehabilitation, and public services. And whereas applications for the 2024 funding cycle are due at the end of October and require a public hearing prior to submission, and whereas the purpose of the public hearing is to solicit project ideas from the community, I would add ideas that fall under the requirements of the Community Block Development Grant. And whereas the village has also developed an idea to improve access to benefit people reliant on public transportation, anyone who needs ADA-compliant access to Village Hall, Red Hook Police Department, and businesses, and the community at large by relocating the county bus stop, reconfiguring the front of Village Hall, also reconfiguring the area around the information center and the Prince Street entrance to Village Hall, creating an integrated public space with significantly improved accessibility. And whereas in addition to receiving ideas from the public, the village's idea will be available for comments as well. Now therefore be it resolved that the board shall hold a public hearing on October 10, 2023 at 7:05 p.m. at Village Hall to hear all interested parties. We can lose the word on. And also be it resolved that the village clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish notice. So this is both a combination of this is a combination of ideas that Mel Corkin and I and Amy Smith also have been talking about as to how to improve accessibility, both from an ADA accessibility standpoint, making the Village Hall more welcoming. And so right now, if you have a stroller or if you have a wheelchair, you can't come in the front door, you have to come in the Prince Street door. And so this will be a project to create access. Melcorca has pulled out the pictures of the building, original pictures of the building when it was a bank, to see what was the original history, and so what should we hold on to, and what is new, what is not historic. And even the stairs actually are not historic; those are new or newer. And it's also difficult if you're coming from the north side of Prince Street to come around in a wheelchair to make that turn is not easy. And so the whole idea is to imagine the whole area in front, including in front of the municipal parking lot and in front of Village Hall, thinking of it as one unit and imagining it as a much more welcoming place and creating more of a place where you can gather and sit. And by moving the bus stop to in front of the info center, you're across from the bus stop on the other side of the road. So you're unifying the bus stops, making it easier to understand where to go if you need the bus. So there's work to do. But the idea that we've been percolating around for a while is to apply for the amount, the maximum amount we can apply for is 200,000, and that would be our intention to apply for that. So, and then the access from the front, we looked at a ramp. It just takes an enormous amount of space, so we're actually looking at a lift that would then lift you up and enable you to come in the front door. So this is the opportunity for a public hearing, both to solicit ideas from the community. If there are many, many ideas. We just thought this was a good one to just make Village Hall feel more like a center of the community and a place where people would like to come, and so that we can provide the services that we provide in a more welcoming way to people.
Can I add one?
Of course, yes.
One note is that usually we're not eligible for this particular grant because the income level of the village is higher than, so we haven't really applied for this in the past that I know of. So any project that is proposed has to actually serve a population mostly that is of lower income, which is why.
Yeah, I think they specify middle to low income.
Yes. So just a thought, if anyone's coming with ideas, to include that, and ADA as well is one of the focuses for that reason.
So I'm excited. I think this is a real opportunity, and it's also an opportunity to green up the front a little bit more. Yes, we have some green weeds over here that do need to be tended, but I think it's a real opportunity, I think, to and also because it's, for all of our frustration with state roads, it is also an opportunity. We are able to say to those going by, here we are, and wouldn't you like to stop and come see us and enjoy being in Red Hook? So I would take a motion to approve this resolution for setting a public hearing.
So moved.
Thank you. Mel Corca, second.
Second.
Thank you, Steve. Any other questions? No, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Should say any opposed? Any abstentions? I also believe that I would like to make a motion to authorize the village to apply, to send in a letter of intent for the CBDG grant. Do I have a second for that?
Second.
Thank you, Kim. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you. Okay, the next thing is related to professional planning services. This is Resolution 50? Yes. 50, we're on a roll with our resolutions. So as if you've been to past meetings, you know that we we decided that we wanted to and put into the budget money for hiring a professional planning consultant to help us with the Cookingham East property development. What's that? Oh, it's about to die. Well, there's nobody on Zoom, so it's going to be all right. Do you know, there was not a power cord in the bag. It's not in the bag. No, I appreciate it.
Do you want to
Thank
take
you.
my computer? Would that be? No, okay. Just take me off.
You just want to get off the screen, that's all.
Well, I wouldn't mind.
But if that computer started Zoom, if it shuts down, it'll shut down the whole thing.
Yes, that's true, actually.
Well, she could transfer host to me.
True.
She could do that.
I mean, just.
Let's give
sorry.
Jen a minute to see if she can find the power cord. There is one. I forgot to ask before we started. See, that's the problem with having all that time in the beginning. Well, while Jen's looking for the power cord for the village laptop, just to continue, so we interviewed 3 planning consultants, and we selected Nelson Pope and Voorhees at our last village board meeting. And what we have in front of us tonight is a resolution to approve the agreement for professional planning services with Nelson Pope and Voorhees. We have the agreement for services I have reviewed it, Steve has reviewed it, I have run it by council, and it seems very straightforward. We have in the budget $15,000. The estimate for this project is 25 to 35. It's possible that some of the fees associated with the project will be paid for through escrow. But one of the first things that needs to be done is for Nelson Pope and Voorhees to review the project in more detail and come up with a more detailed plan for how we're going to go forward and what those costs might look like. So included in the resolution is that the current budget of $15,000 will be adjusted by the board prior to any spending above this amount. Did you find it? So maybe you can transfer,
Just died.
and it just died.
Died.
All right,
Oh,
well, I'm
but we're
surprised we're all here.
we're still-
Oh,
we're
you
still
know what,
going.
Steve, you're the
I'm
host.
the host, okay.
Oh, it's
Well, there you go. All right.
I get just auto-transferred because you were the first one online afterward, or the second
Oh,
one.
that's right, you were the first one to
Yes.
get on.
Do you
All
have
right.
enough juice to hand yours over?
I think we're, oh, right, for the screen? Well, I don't think we need the screen since nobody's on.
Great, perfect.
If someone pops on, we can make that change. Okay, so the resolution is to approve the agreement for professional planning services. And so now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Red Hook hereby authorizes Mayor Smythe to sign the letter of agreement with Nelson Pope and Voorhees. And as I mentioned, that the current budget of $15,000 will be adjusted prior to any spending above this amount. May I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Thank you, Steve. And a second?
Second?
Thank you, Mel Corca. Any further discussion, questions?
I was just wondering, in the scope, it does say that they're recommending one public workshop for input. I think, based on the project and previous conversations in the community, that probably more than one would be beneficial to this project. There would be a way to advise that we do more than just one survey and one workshop.
Absolutely. What is referenced in this letter of agreement is that Nelson, Pope, and Voorhees would be a part of one. It doesn't mean that we can't do multiples. We don't necessarily need to have them there at every one.
Great.
But I agree with you. I think the opportunity is to have as many opportunities for people to understand the project, hear what we're talking about, provide input. Completely agree. Thank you. And again, we can always, and that's part of the initial process. It sort of gets us going to say what is the roadmap that we're going to use and what does that look like in terms of cost. I do know that the potential developer, which I believe we know is Rupco, is planning also to do public sessions as well. And so that's another way to have, that's not necessarily paid for by the village, that might be funded by the developer. Okay, so that, we have a motion and a second. That was a question. Any other questions?
My only note was I think it's a typo, the equal between the 23 and 24,
Oh, yes,
but that's
that is
just
true.
the tiniest.
Should be 23-24. Thank you. Any other questions, edits? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, so we got that done. All right, and then the next is a budget adjustment resolution. This is resolution number 51. There are adjustments to the general fund, the water fund, and the sewer fund. For the general fund, we had approved the bond for the new garbage and leaf truck for $218,000. So we need to acknowledge that in the budget. So this is adjusting to add that $218,000, which we have received. And then we need to add the expense of buying the garbage/leaf truck. I can add that our highway foreman has actually took the truck out and was using it to see if it would work to vacuum up some brush piles. And he was very excited with how well it worked. He had an example of a it was a brush pile, it might have been grass clippings, that the truck that was cleaning out the catch basins ran over, and it also rained, and the vacuum was still able to suck it up easily. So he is a very, very happy man. We are happy to keep him happy. And then there's just an adjustment in that we've purchased tags, and we don't usually, garbage tags, we don't usually purchase 2 batches in a year. So, and I don't remember what was in the miscellaneous piece of material management, but that's just a flopping from one budget to the other. Relating to the water fund, we do have, first of all, the water tapping fee. We have already received $7,000, and our budget was only $5,000, so this increases that revenue line. The WIA grant is now in process, and so we need to reflect that in our budget. So the entire bond anticipation note for the WIA grant is higher than the $195,000 that I put in here, but I wanted to put in what we knew right now, so there will be further adjustments as it relates to the WIA grant. And then for the sewer fund, I just forgot to put in the remainder portion of the capital project for the sewer, and that needs to be reflected in the budget. And so that is, the USDA grant funding is actually $1.2 million. And so what I've put here as an adjustment is $60,000 less than that. It's not 100% clear where that will go. I would be surprised if we don't use it all, but I just wasn't sure where it would go. So this is pieces that I'm reasonably confident will be, if not this, close. So those are the adjustments that we have, that I have before you. May I have a motion to accept this resolution?
So moved.
Thank you, Charlie. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Kim. Any questions, concerns, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, and then this is just in the agenda, we just note the next meetings. The next workshop meeting is Thursday, September 28th, and our next village board meeting is Tuesday, October 10th, due to the holiday on October 9th. Okay, and now we have our illustrious treasurer here to give the treasurer's report, Lori Urban.
Thank you, Mayor. The Treasurer's Report, which reflects our account balances as of July 31st, 2023, is as follows.
July or August?
I'm sorry, August. My apologies.
Thank
Yes.
you. I know we're trying to slow down the summer, but
No, I'm working off my edited version, so thank you, my fault. In the general fund, as of August 31st, 2023, we have $1,605,444.45. Water fund, $371,428.28. Payroll clearing account, $33,277.12. Sewer fund, $609,084.14. Hard Scrabble account, $17,199.66. The Village Green has $11,476.32. Our health insurance fund has $8,573.21. Petty cash remains unchanged at $60.83. The reserve checking balances for the fire department are $5,068.81. For police, $14,687.98. The USDA, $134,978.17. Highway, $26,369.55. Snow reserve, $3,302.41. Tower Reserve, $17,835.24. Unemployment Reserve, $4,575.89. Court Reserve, $3,321.65, and the Office Reserve Fund has $979.31. And then lastly, the monthly expenses for August out of the general fund were $478,617.64. Water Fund, $188,545.82. Payroll Clearing Account, $2,780.86. And the Sewer Fund, $3,679,327.91.
Thank you very much. Anyone have any questions? Actually, I have a question. On the Fire Department Reserve, there's the 2,500 from last fiscal year, which I don't think is reflected in here yet. Is that correct?
Can't quite remember the timing of when we went to M&T with the checks, but I will certainly let you know. I believe that those transfers are not in these figures.
I think that's right. Okay, so we'll see that in theory next month.
Right.
Thank you. Any other questions? Motion to approve the treasurer's report?
So moved.
Thank you, Steve. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Kim. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, Lori. Okay, now it's my reports. We start with, oh, wait, I've got to go to the next thing. Start with police reports. For the month of August, there were 250 incidents. There were 149 in the village of Red Hook. There were 82 in the town of Red Hook, and there were 19 in the village of Tivoli. There were 122 water tower security checks, 103 uniform traffic tickets, and of those 103, 57 were in the village of Red Hook, 29 were in the town of Red Hook, and 17 were in the village of Tivoli. For parking tickets, there were 11 in the village of Red Hook, none in the town of Red Hook, and 5 in the village of Tivoli. There were 3 arrests, 2 in the village of Red Hook and 1 in the town of Red Hook, none in the village of Tivoli. And that was for the month of August. I do not have the latest fire incident report. I believe the last few days have been rather busy, so I fully believe that they are out doing their good duties, and we will have that, and we will have their report soon. The sewer capital project. As you all may know, the substantial completion was achieved on March 30th, 2023. Restoration and punch list remain to be completed prior to final completion being achieved. Following items are still outstanding for the electrical contract, the propane tank at the wastewater treatment plant site, schedule startup training session. That is scheduled for this week. I am waiting for a date. And the roof over the control panel structure still needs to be installed as well. For the general contract, there's a final inspection of each step control panel, fix any issues with electrical seals, though I think that's actually been done. Carver shall provide a letter stating that they have performed the required final inspection of each control panel. I should state that our highway foreman, who is more than just a highway foreman, has also been doing a tremendous job of going around to each property and confirming and double checking that everything is working properly. They need to provide final spare step pump, as it was just one last pump that they needed to provide for the spare parts list. They need to provide the required O&M manuals, provide record drawings per the specifications, and also provide photographic documentation, which is pre- and post-work per a section of the contract. For the financing, USDA RD, the $1.2 million grant is funding the last part of the project. We have now received funding to pay invoices from the USDA Form E number 10. We have another distribution from Form E number 11 expected later this week. The Form E is the format that USDA uses for us to request distribution of funding. All of the invoices that go with that are required to go with. And then with Form E number 11, we will have expended $7,819,980.90. The entire project is $8,447,118, and that leaves $627,137.10. The large portion, the most of that is retainage. So we're close, but we're not quite there yet. Red Hook Public Library. I have a report for the month of August. The Red Hook Public Library held their regular board meeting on August 17th at the library in the third floor conference room. I was not able to attend the board meeting, but library manager Alex Geller met with me at the library on August 22nd to review the board meeting and library activities. Under board developments, the board decided there had been discussion of not having a treasurer as a board position, but they have confirmed that it makes sense to leave the treasurer position as a board member, and they are working with their accountants to ensure proper financial oversight. The board has continued to interview potential board members and has recommended, I said one, it's now two, for the village board for their review and approval. Personnel, Lori Burns was hired as the assistant manager. She's local to Red Hook. Previous working experience includes 15 years as a librarian at Marist College in Poughkeepsie. Several people resigned due to return to school, including 2 college interns. The library is interviewing for a new intern from Bard for outreach and marketing. The committee is working with the human resources firm to present a draft of their report at the next board meeting. Fundraising, June 2023 was the Red Hook Library's 125th birthday. They are working on a celebration for the end of the year, and a committee has been formed. A bequest has been received from Kenneth and Marcella Appel. This bequest is unrestricted. Regarding finance and budget, board member Amy Husted and assistant, that would be library manager, Alex Geller met with the accountants to review budgets and spending. 2023 looks to be on track. The Finance Committee is looking at recommending creating reserve investment accounts to preserve the library's financial health. They will be revisiting their fixed asset policy regarding how depreciation gets accounted for. Programs and events, program attendance is down due to less programs than last year. They have started a process of doing the increases versus the prior month. I would encourage perhaps looking at both. But foot traffic is up 25% versus last month. Circulation is also up across the board. Physical circulation is up 5%.
And is that against last month as well? and
I
not the
believe
year
those are
before?
all against the prior month. Touch a Truck will take place. It took place on August 30th in the village parking lot with support from the village highway and police departments, the Red Hook Fire Company, and several area businesses who are bringing trucks of all shapes and sizes. I don't know if anyone was able to attend Touch a Truck. We had lots and lots of trucks in our municipal lot and lots and lots of happy kids of all sizes and ages. Yes. There was one, a small child that might be related to a board member who pointed out the long grass when sitting on the lawnmower, and so there was a thought that perhaps he might be hired. ESL will return in the fall. I guess I'll just stop and just say this to me is a wonderful opportunity of a collaboration between the library and the village. I will tell you that our highway foreman had the best time bringing in all the trucks. The police department enjoyed, and the kids loved, pressing the sirens. And Dave's Tree Service had his. I was glad that the fire company with their ladder truck and Dave's Tree Service didn't have a challenge as to whose thing could go higher. I believe the answer is Dave's, but we didn't really want to didn't really want to test that, but it just was a really fun community event, and it was something that was easy to do and a wonderful collaboration that really built community, and kids of all ages had a great time. ESL will be returning in the fall. Homebound deliveries are returning. Red Hook Stationery added to the gifts for the summer reading programs. They are reworking their Wi-Fi hotspot rules, and I was told it was to ensure the program meets the original intentions. So something for you, the new board members to look into. On Hardscrabble Day, the library will have tables out front of the library along with Bard CCE as per usual. Teen usage has gone down significantly. They will be hosting focus groups to plan out adult and teen space. The grant to replace the stucco on the outside of the building has been submitted. A grant for rehabilitating the porch has been approved. Regarding communications and website, the website calendar format has been changed. The new system allows for RSVP for programs to happen online and more efficiently collects information. Probably a good question is, what if you don't have a computer? How do you RSVP? Special project. They're currently weeding out the adult collection to make more efficient use of space in the library. Anything not checked out in 3 years is being reviewed for removal. Upcoming meetings, they have a policy and fundraising committee to meet September 28 at 6 p.m. And the next board meeting is September 21st at 6:30 p.m. And then the last report that I have is related to personnel and payroll. As I think it was January where we started on the path of updating our time keep system. We are currently using manual punch cards. We had a college intern this summer, and as he was punching out for the last time, I said, you should just take a moment to appreciate the fact that you are one of very few people in your age range who will ever have had the opportunity to have a physical punch card that you put into a punch clock. So we are in the process of moving to ADP's time keep system, which is an automated time card system which happens via software. You punch in. This is not a new idea. So we are in the process of doing what they refer to as a test punch to work out all the bugs. And I'm hoping to launch in parallel for real by the end of September. And just a note that the Northern Duchess Alliance Executive Committee had no meeting in August. And those are my reports, and so now we'll turn it over to Deputy Mayor Kjarval.
Hi, okay, so Red Hook Together. Red Hook Together met on September 7th at the Community Center for a presentation on the Community Needs Assessment by the President of Patterns for Progress, Adam Bosch. And as you guys all remember, that we committed funds to that study. Covered in detail were the 12 key needs identified: food support, childcare, youth services and opportunities, challenges to aging in place, pedestrian safety, community cohesion, communications, sustainability of organizations reliant on volunteer support, access to healthcare, public transportation, mental health, and attainable housing. Included in the presentation were some recommendations on how to address those needs. Those recommendations and the entire 172-page report can be found online by visiting the Village of Red Hook's homepage. And you can just scroll down to the Community Bulletin Board section and click on the link, Read Full Report.
Mel Corca, they have a second presentation, do they not, in Rhinebeck?
They do.
Is it this Thursday, I think?
I know it's coming up.
Hang on.
I believe it is Thursday.
It is Thursday, 6 o'clock in Rhinebeck, and it's either in the town hall or the village hall, so they're right across the street, so.
It was a
where
great
everyone's going.
presentation. It was
It is a
very
great
interesting.
presentation.
The Red Hook Town Economic Development Committee, the EDC, did not meet during the month of August. The next scheduled meeting is Wednesday, September 13th. The Village of Red Hook Communications Committee also did not meet because the Village of Red Hook Hardscrabble Events Committee is working hard on Hardscrabble. We meet on the third Monday of each month at 6 p.m. at Village Hall, and preparations for this year's Hardscrabble taking place September 23rd are ongoing. The band lineup has been announced on hardscrabbleday.org. Posters and signage will be going up next week. They are going up currently.
Don't you have some show and tell?
The mayor brought one for us to show.
There's some more over there, if anyone has a
take
good
'em?
place they'd like to,
And
Put one
they're-
up?
Yeah, they're around town. And if you want to post it publicly, they're at the village clerk's office. The band lineup has been announced. If you would like to volunteer for the day or sign up your institution or group for a booth, please contact the committee chair, Amy Smith, by email at events@redhooknyvillage.org.
and I just pipe in to say a huge thank you to the small team that has done a great job of putting together yet another great lineup. It's going to be super fun. Can't wait.
Yes, and the weather's going to be wonderful. Also, save the date for the annual Village Parade on Saturday, October 28th at 1 p.m. All ages of participants and human-powered floats are welcome. And then the Village of Red Hook Human Relations Committee. We meet every first Thursday of the month at 7 p.m. in the Village Hall Conference Room. The committee met on September 7th to strategize how to install and present the Inside Out We Are Neighbors exhibit, which is going to be unveiled at Hardscrabble. However, the meeting had to be called short when the village lost power due to the evening's severe thunderstorm. The meeting is rescheduled for tomorrow. Then the Village of Red Hook Highway Department report. Pickup of brush and yard debris is scheduled for the first full week of every month, pending weather conditions and scheduling. Please be patient as it takes more than one day to get all the way around the village. As of now, pickup is scheduled for once a month through the fall. Residents are reminded to place lawn debris and brush in separate piles and tree branches no longer than 6 inches in diameter. Brush that includes tree trunks, stumps, garbage, or construction material will not be picked up. Revenue received on August 10th from the sale of scrap metal during the month of August 2023 was $602. The total revenue for this fiscal year to date is $3,014.50. And since the program's inception in September 2007, scrap metal donations have yielded a total of $50,892.56. Proceeds from this program go to the purchase of tools and equipment for the village highway, water, and materials management departments. If you're interested in donating scrap metal, you can contact the clerk or the highway department. Seasonal projects. The catch basin cleaning has taken place from Tuesday, September 5th to the 7th. The details about who we hired and the amounts we paid for that is in last month's report. Annual repaving, we're still awaiting prices on various repaving projects identified as high priority by Highway Foreman Jake Smith. And then village tree pruning and/or removal. Dave's Tree Service has submitted the following prices for annual tree removal and maintenance. And for the street in Fifth Street, it's $1,500. 2 Fraley Street, it's $1,200. 49 West Market Street, $800. 51 West Market Street, $3,000. 50 Fisk Street through Baxter Road is $1,200. Phillips Street, $750. Ludlow Ave, $750. Amherst and Kent, $750. Kent, $750. And these are all for different, either removing damaged or ailing trees and or trimming.
I will note that in these storms, the trees that have come down have all been in the town. We've had a branch or two, but for the most part, we've not had a major tree fall down, and I think that's a testament to the ongoing, yeah, I know, I shouldn't say it out loud, to the ongoing work of the highway department and of the village to invest money in making sure that dead trees are taken down. And of course, then we plant replacements. And that's the end, yes?
Yes, that's the end.
Excellent, thank you very much. Trustee Lang?
Yes, good evening. So I have a couple of reports. Let's start with the materials management for the month of August. We collected 0.96 tons of commingled, 0.6 tons of cardboard, and 0.84 tons of paper for a total recycling collection of 2.4 tons, as well as 2.43 tons of garbage. We sold $1,939 worth of garbage tags, and the garbage cost us a total of $290.88. Unfortunately, there was a small charge for contaminated recycling last month. So let's hope we get that taken care of and don't see that again next month or this month. That's materials management, and then we have the water report for the month of August. So the Red Hook Water Treatment Facilities monthly report. During the month of August, the water treatment facility treated 7,367,500 total gallons, which is an average of 237,700 gallons per day. That's right in line with usage same time last year, so that seems fairly stable. We also collected 3 samples for bacteriological testing, as we regularly do, and they all came back clean with no presence of coliform or E. coli bacteria noted. During the month of August, the water treatment plant used 75 gallons of sodium hypochlorite, and so that's an average daily use of 2.4 gallons per day. So it was a fairly traditional August for water usage. There were, as far as other reports, there were no meetings of the Sawkill watershed community, but I do seem to now officially be on the Community Preservation Fund Advisory Board, although I'll know for sure when I start receiving notices and information from them.
Just to go back to the water, the WIA grant is specifically, the projects are specifically targeted for our water infrastructure, and it will be nice to see these items that need to listed under deficiencies start to be addressed. The first item is the SCADA, which is the computer control system for the wastewater treatment plant and the pumps, and water treatment plant. Those bids, we actually had 5 companies come to the pre-bid meeting, and the bid opening will be on September 20th for that project. So that's exciting.
That is very exciting.
So that sounds like it for you, Charlie. Thank you.
Yes.
Trustee Bradley Reichert.
Good evening. For the Village Green Committee, there were no formal meetings held during the month of August. However, I met with the chair, Dave, and we coordinated for the upcoming fall planting, which will take place this November. The date is to be decided based on the nursery's delivery date of trees. However, trees have been ordered from the nursery. Part of the role of the Village Green Committee is to promote access to the green spaces in our village, and part of that is fulfilling the bench requests or donations. And currently, we have a delivery date for the VFW benches for Memorial Park and are just waiting on design information for the plaques to be on those benches. And residents and businesses interested in having any trees planted on their adjacent village street or New York State highway right-of-way, volunteering for planting days, or sponsoring a beautification project can contact David Pearson, myself, or Jen Kavanaugh, the village clerk. We did set a quarterly meeting schedule for the Village Green Committee. Our next meeting will be held this coming Sunday at 6:30 at Village Hall. It is open to anyone and all interested in joining or participating in Village Green Committee. And mostly in this meeting, we're going to be talking about preparing for the fall planting in November and guiding our committee members on how to properly plant those trees that are bare root.
Kim, do you want to just mention about the memorial site and the work that's been done so far?
Sure. At the Memorial Park, part of the partnering that we've done with VFW is to create that space and make it a little bit more accessible, not only to the veterans, but also to other community members, and really honor the site that it is. And so one of the members of the VFW, Dave Farrow, had contacted with Dave's Tree Service to go out and remove some of the shrubs that looked to be a little overgrown, and we had those removed, leaving the true weeping cherry trees as sort of sentries over the site of the memorial. So now as you go along either Old Post Road or Highway 9, you can actually see that the site is itself. We will be partnering with other communities, groups, to do some planting in the area, trying to think about plants that are going to be easily maintained, but also really create the honor and the respect that that site deserves.
And I would just like to mention that the removal of the bushes was done by Dave's Tree Service, and he did it complimentary in honor of the veterans.
Yes. Thank you. For the sewer department, last month we took a village trip to the wastewater treatment plant to familiarize ourselves with the layout and potential maintenance issues, and to discuss ideas for the future of the sewer. During the month of, it's supposed to say July, sorry. During the month of July, the average daily flow was 9 million gallons per day at Plant B, which is the old Red Hook Commons plant, and roughly 40 million gallons per day at Plant A, which is the new plant. And there were samples sent out for testing, and all came back within range. And there are a few items still needed for repair or maintenance at the treatment plant. As a reminder to all residents, whether you're in the sewer use area or not, please be kind to your pipes. Please only put the 3 Ps in the toilet: pee, poop, and toilet paper. And while in the kitchen or near other drains, please do not put fats, oils, or grease, also known as fog, down the drain, as they clog up the pipes and make the system stressed out. What goes down your drain matters. If you are in the sewer use area and the emergency alarm goes off, please call the village sewer operator at 845-758-1081 and press option 8. Press the silence alarm button only after notifying the sewer operator, as they have no idea your alarm is actually going off. And for my final report for the speed limit initiative, as summer is coming to an end, I reached back out to our contact at the engineer firm, and we are waiting for them to prepare a proposal, which will be reviewed by the board. And the proposed traffic study will cover at least 1 to 2 streets per quadrant, focusing on high traffic roads and neighborhoods. And the board will take consideration from existing studies to inform areas of interest, and for what would be best for village businesses and residents in looking at lowering the village speed limit to 25 miles an hour. Thank you.
Can I ask 2 questions about that?
You can.
Do they give you an idea of when they'd give the proposal to us?
I do not have an estimated date yet, but they did reach out to see when we were meeting, so they do know our schedule.
Awesome. And then do you have an estimated budget that they gave you?
Not yet. That'll be
Okay.
in the proposal.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, I mean, it's not awesome. We don't know, but thank you for the information.
Yeah, no problem.
I have one
Okay.
quick question on that as well. Just looking at the volume, it's like 49 million gallons per day. and I
49,000.
know-
It's not million.
49,000.
Okay, that was my question. Okay, so,
Okay.
Yeah, the way it's written on it's the .009 million gallons per day and .040
yeah, it
million
just seemed
gallons.
like
So,
kind
yeah,
of an enormous
that is
amount.
enormous.
Okay.
Yes.
so
Yeah.
My question's
They
answered.
must be used to working with much larger plants than we will ever have. Super. Now, Trustee Appenzeller.
Okay, for the month of August, for the Village of Red Hook Building Department, there were 12 building permits issued. Also, interestingly, I think it was the first B permit I saw being issued in the month of August, in conjunction with a new animal husbandry and beekeeping law that was recently passed. There were 2 certificates of occupancy issued and 16 certificates of compliance, 2 municipal searches. There were no orders to remedy, no stop work orders, and no court appearances. There were quite a few fire inspections. 7545 North Broadway, there were 2 commercial units. 7581 South Broadway, a commercial unit was inspected. 84 West Market Street, there was a commercial unit. 102 West Market Street, also a commercial unit. 3-family property at 43 Thompson Street, and Firehouse Lane, Knollwood Commons, the front commercial buildings were inspected, and 42-44 West Market Street, there were 3 commercial buildings which were inspected. As far as complaints, there were 3. 52 West Market Street, a property maintenance issue which has been remedied. 2 Cambridge Drive, a fence, and that's an issue which is pending in front of the ZBA. And 7588 North Broadway, a signage banner issue which has been remedied. For planning board actions, at the August 10th meeting, there was a site plan approval granted to a property at 29 West Market for outdoor seating. Site approval was granted to a property located at 7366 South Broadway. That's commercial to residential for 2 apartments. A site plan application for 59 Fisk Street was tabled to the September 14th meeting. And site approval was granted to property located at 7536 North Broadway for storage. The Zoning Board of Appeals at their August 24th meeting had a public hearing scheduled for an area variance for a property located at 2 Cambridge Drive, and the applicant tabled that to the September 28th meeting. In conjunction with the inspections and the certificates and everything else that was done, there was $8,067 in fees which were collected. For the Public Spaces Initiative, there's work going on right now for the upcoming October 21st event at Abraham's Park. That will be a great, fun family pumpkin decorating event. Activity for that will be picking up this month in preparation for that at the end of October, and meetings will be scheduled to discuss the ongoing visioning for Abraham's Park and future uses for that. And that's it for my reports.
Great, thank you. And I realize that in my notes, in thinking about September 11th, I neglected to formally welcome our new intern, Zariat Ahmed, who is a senior at Red Hook High School, and we are very grateful to have you here, and we will get all our equipment working properly for you. But again, thank you for spending time with us and learning about all the things that happen at the village level. Anybody have any general business? Hearing none, public comment? Is there anyone who would like to make public comment? I'll take that as a no. We have no executive session at this point. I would like a motion to pay bills after audit.
So moved?
Thank you, Steve. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mel Corca. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. Any other business anyone would like to discuss?
Just that I would like everyone to come to Hardscrabble if they can. It's going to be fun.
And there's opportunity to volunteer as well. It really is a blast, and while I don't know the bands, rumor has it that they're phenomenal, and we're going to have a great time. And at the Cider House, we have additional local cideries and breweries that will be represented, and we will have, the corner counter will be selling prepared food in the evening associated with the cider tent. So it's a lot of fun. And having gone to several outside events where it was supposed to be pouring rain and it didn't, that is exactly what's going to happen at Hardscrabble. It is not going to rain. Okay, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Great meeting.